All right, so today I have in a new release from Oris watches in their Big Crown ProPilot line. The watch is the Okavango Air Rescue limited edition. I'm a big fan of the ProPilot lineup, but the one thing that makes this watch stand apart from the rest is the beautiful green textured dial. It's really got that wow factor to it. Big thanks to Gem Bijou for lending in the watch. Gem Bijou is a local authorized dealer for Oris and many other brands. If you're shopping watches, check them out at gembijou.com. So let's get straight to it and take a look at the watch. Now, Oris is known to partner up with all sorts of organizations behind great causes, and the Okavango Air Rescue seems to be just that. They were founded in 2011 and operate 2 helicopters and 2 planes in the Okavango Delta area of Botswana. These watches are limited to 2,011 pieces to commemorate the year they were founded. They operate on an interesting patronage system for tourists or locals in the area, and this watch is to help raise awareness for the Okavango Air Rescue. I'll leave a link below if you want to read up a little more on them. The watch comes with a couple of extras. One is this canvas and leather watch roll, and inside we have the warranty card just over here, but also is a spare leather strap. Now, I haven't tried this on the watch, but it is super thin, very thin leather strap, and I bet it would look great on the watch. The strap that's currently on the watch is actually made by Erica's Originals and created specifically for this watch. You can see here that it is signed with Oris. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with these, but I highly recommend them with that stretchy fabric. They're so comfy on wrist. Now, let's talk dial here because the dial is definitely where it's at with this thing. It's a textured green dial with a slight fume effect, getting a little darker towards the edge of the dial. The way they did the texturing is meant to represent the grasses of the Delta. I'm not sure what the process would be to get a dial like this, but it looks awesome, I think. I wouldn't go so far as to saying it's at Grand Seiko's level with their textured dials, but it did bring Grand Seiko to mind when I first saw it. The indices on the dial are applied, and between those and the large-sized hour and minute hand, it's very legible. Over at the 3, we have the date with the black date disc. The loom is solid. Sometimes it seems like the markers aren't quite as bright as the hands, but I think it's just the fact that the font is a little on the thinner side. The case is 100% brushed with quite fine brushwork. There's a couple of spots of polish work on the crown and case back, but otherwise completely brushed. Another highlight other than the dial with this watch is going to be the fluted bezel. It just looks so cool, I think. The crown, for lack of a better word, is big. This thing's not called the Big Crown for no reason, and you won't have any problems unscrewing the crown, setting your time, and screwing it back in. I love when the threads are really well machined on a watch, especially when you're screwing it back in. This just finds the threads right away. It feels smooth and solid at the same time. The side profile has that curvature to help keep it seated in place on wrist. Nice curvature to those lugs. I'll put a shot up on screen of the case back, and they've got an image of a rescue plane flying over the Delta. It's deeply pressed, well finished, and same as the regular Big Crown ProPilots, under the hood is the Oris 751, which is based on the Sellita SW220. It beats at 28,800 vibrations per hour. It's a 26 joule movement with a power reserve of approximately 38 hours. Size on this is the same as the non-limited ProPilots. Case width comes in at, I'm getting 40.6 millimeters. The lug to lug is 48.5. Lug opening is 20 millimeters and the thickness is 12.7 millimeters. Water resist is 100 meters and the crystal is a domed sapphire with an anti-reflective coating. And here it is on my 7.25 inch wrist. And guys, even if this watch isn't for you, if you haven't, you got to try one of these straps. These Ericus Originals are way comfy and they're quite thin too, so they keep the watch at a fairly low profile on wrist. So overall, I think the watch itself is very nice and this dial is beautiful. Oris seems to be really upping their game in the dial department lately. MSRP on these is $2,500 USD. Here in Canada, that's $3,100 Canadian. Thanks again to Gem Bijou for lending in the watch. You can find them at gembijou.com. Link will be below. Appreciate you stopping by today, and we'll see you real soon. Bye-bye.